process wakes you up. The spike of stress hormone, now you're awake and you're like, why am I awake? And so you're frustrated, but it was a sign of this. And now it's going away. You're no longer waking up anymore at night in the first month, going into 2 months, because your cells are now absorbing the glucose, keeping glucose calm again. No more crashes. That is so significant. If you're waking up to pee all the time, that's a different problem. What's happening there is the glucose is out of control in the wrong direction. It's getting higher and higher. Your kidneys are trying to help you by making you pee it out at nighttime. You're peeing at night a couple times a night. It's your kidney's way of trying to get the glucose to stay under control by peeing it out, because it's building up, causing too much damage. The kidneys get triggered to get it out for you. So you're waking up to pee. When that stops, again, it's because you are effectively doing step 1, receptors, AMPK, you're clearing glucose properly, and you're stopping these downstream symptoms. These are big symptoms. Your brain fog going away, your sharpness coming back, headaches and migraines stopping. That is because your brain cells are getting energy again. So the brain cells can work properly, brain fog goes away, sharpness comes back, your brain cells are working properly again. Even inflammation is reducing in the brain cells, even neurotransmitters start working. The gene expression of your brain cells are clinically proven to increase in the first month to 2 months on this program. The gene expression, the functionality of your brain cells goes up. That is what you're noticing. So you writing it off and messaging me being like, Dana, I'm still diabetic. I care about nothing else though. That doesn't mean anything to me. You're looking at a forest and you're missing the trees. You should be so proud of yourself. These are huge changes that underpin the rest of your changing, right? So look for them and be really proud of yourself when you hit them, and then use that to be motivated just to keep going, because it means your body's responding. It means keep going. I'm listening. I'm moving. I'm shifting. I'm healing. Don't quit. All right. So look for those to stay motivated. Let's go a little bit deeper now, right? And neuropathy goes away, starts going away in 2 months. It's usually gone. For most people, it's usually always gone by 4 months. Very few of my clients need more than a few months for neuropathy. It is case dependent, but most of the time, look at my testimonials, for example, most of them are saying month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, and it's completely gone. You'll see. Again, it is case dependent, depending on, there's some extreme situations, but you just message me afterwards if you're on the program and I'll help you out with that as you go through it. Okay. So let's keep going. What we've done is we have started to clear the glucose quite a bit using those 2 pathways at the cell level. There's one more glucose pathway to fully get rid of all of this glucose damage. No more glucose damage after this. I'm also going to knock out insulin here. So I'm going to knock out both of these 100% now. All right. So there's 3 pathways for this, and there's 1 pathway for this to knock all of them out. 2 are done for glucose, 1 more plus the insulin. Okay. Then after that, we'll knock out the next 2 pillars. So we're almost there now. So the first 2 are done, but there's 1 more for glucose, and it's going to knock out insulin too. This is at the food level. So we're clearing the glucose at the receptor level and the cell level, sorry. So as the cells are opening and getting glucose to come in, that's beautiful. It means you're clearing the glucose, getting it out of the blood. Where is it coming from in the first place? How is it getting into the blood? How is it getting into the blood? Your food. So we have to control the entrance into the blood. Once it's in the blood, we're controlling it, getting it into the cells. But we need to also do some work to control the entrance into the body. It's coming from the food supply. So we got to make there's actually some tactics here we can use. What you need to do is when you have a lot of insulin, your glucose is going to spike even more. The more insulin, the more the glucose spikes, and higher it goes, as it becomes a huge roller coaster. And we can't have that. If you're opening up your cells and you finally open them for the very first time in years, how excited they are. They're excited. They're super excited. They're happy. They're finally getting a glucose. They're ready for the glucose. And then suddenly you eat a meal, even if you're having healthy food, even insulin will cause a spike of glucose, even if you're having really healthy food with no carbs in it, no sugar. That's just how dysregulated things become. So even if you're eating really healthy, you still have to do this. You got to control the glucose, even if it's healthy food coming in. So what happens, the cells are open and the glucose, you allow the glucose to spike. Insulin is already up here. Insulin is primed and ready to take all the glucose, this massive glucose hit, and is going to shove them into the cells, right? Insulin will take any glucose spike and shove it right inside of the cells to get it out of the bloodstream, to stop the glycation damage, to stop all the burning of it lingering there. That's going to hurt the cells. Your cells were damaged and they were locked. You finally opened them and then you shoved them with all this glucose. That's going to re-damage them all over again. And it's going to lock them up again. So you just open them and you're locking them again. So it's going to really stunt your healing. So it's going to take a lot longer to heal because you're going to be going in circles. What you're going to have to do is keep the glucose nice and controlled. There's a couple of different active ingredients in Mother Nature. Actually, a lot. There's actually many active ingredients in Mother Nature that do this for you. And they're very, very effective. But there is one, I'm going to talk only about one for the sake of brevity. There's one ingredient that is the strongest and across all clinical studies all around the world, and it smokes the rest out of water. Other ones are effective too, but this is the most effective, and it's fiber, always. And you know this to be true. When you walk into Mother Nature and you're looking around the forest, anywhere you find sugar, sugar always comes with fiber wrapped around it, always. Sugar always comes with fiber wrapped around it. Even if you look at the stick of sugar in the sugar cane, a literal stick of sugar in Mother Nature, it's wrapped in a sheath of fiber. Not cayenne pepper, not the other things that you guys are thinking about. It is fiber wrapped in that sheet. There's 2,000 species of fiber. There's 2 categories of specialists of glucose control fiber species, soluble and insoluble, and they work differently. They get into, when you eat it, you're supposed to eat the sheath with the sugar. All right, the food companies, they strip off the sheaths, they process the rod of sugar, turn it into toxic, molecularly changed. They change the molecular structure of the sugar when they process it, so it's 10 times as harmful. It's extremely dangerous. It causes disease and issues that the regular sugar does not cause. And there's no protection, there's no fiber, nothing to buffer the damage. It's just pure toxic. If you were to leave the sugar unprocessed, and then you were to eat the sheath with the sugar, like we used to, those fiber species we used to actually activate in the stomach with the sugar and bind to it. They used to bind to the sugar in the gut, into the stomach, and buffer and block the damage. Here's how. The insoluble ones would bind together and they create kind of like a fishing net, like a net formation like this. And they leave kind of holes behind. The soluble ones come in and they swell into balls and they get stuck in the holes. And then together, all these species, all these many species come together and they begin to create a mesh. It's a very like when they bind like that, it's very sticky. It's like go to my Instagram or Facebook. I did a video on this where I put these species that are in this program into a bowl of water to show you what it would do in the stomach. I let it sit there for a few minutes and suddenly you begin to see it start to actually thicken and it becomes like a gel. That's what it does inside of your stomach. That's what fiber does. It starts to thicken and bind to sugars. I got cake, I put the cake in it and it just bound to the cake. I took it out, I just dipped it in on a fork, I dipped it into the gel, took it out, and that fiber just boom, it glued onto the cake. And I shook it around on the camera to show you like how gluey it is. And it would not come off. Like it wouldn't drip, nothing. That's how good fiber is at sticking and binding to sugar. You're supposed to eat it together. Stop stripping it apart. The food companies take all the fiber out of everything because no one likes fiber. Everything tastes worse with fiber in it. Nobody likes to buy the high fiber granola bars, for example. And so you know fiber. And so you have no protection. The sugar just floods your bloodstream. If you keep the fiber attached like that, alongside the sugar, as it gets into the stomach, right? Stomach is churning everything together. The gel begins to form and then stomach is pushing it together and it gets all wrapped around the food. And then it starts to push into your digestive tract. As it moves into your tract, with no fiber,